Hi everybody, this is Q of course, and today I want to analyze in detail the costs of 2-year ownership of my 1978 Ford Transit Mk1 Westfalia camper van. And I mean really all costs, so starting from purchase price, registration, restoration, repairs, tax, insurance, gas, and finally also expenses for campgrounds here in Europe. And I think the outcome could be interesting for anyone who considers purchasing a classic camper van. And I promise the final results will be very interesting and there will be both positive and negative surprises. So, I hope you don't mind if I make myself comfortable and get my file, because today we have a lot of figures and I don't want to make any mistakes. Let's start with the purchase price. I bought the car 2 years ago for 7,300 euros with 133,000 miles on the clock. No, it was kilometer, 133,000 kilometer on the clock. And the car was a one-owner car and it was in a really good condition, but I had to invest a little bit of money for restoration, and in my eyes these restoration costs belong to the initial investment, so I put it on the purchase price for better comparison later. The restoration expenses included welding and spraying of one of the wheel arches for 1,150 euros. Then I reupholstered the living space for 274 euros, and I bought a new carpet for 34 euros and installed it myself, so that was only the material costs. So the total costs for restoration were 1,458 euros. In Germany it's very cheap to register a car, so I only had to pay 40 euros for administrative fees to get the car registered. Therefore, the total initial investment was 8,800 euros. Next step, what are the annual regular expenses? So in Germany, if you have a classic car that qualifies for this H number plates, is here this H at the end, that are the historic number plates, it's a flat rate of 191 euros for the tax. The annual insurance is 216 euros, which not only includes third-party liability, but a fully comprehensive cover with agreed value, and I think that's really not expensive. Then you have the costs of the mandatory technical inspection, which you have to do every second year here in Germany. It's called the TÜV, or you would call it MOT in the UK, and that's 163 euros. Then I had to pay 125 euros for a valuation to determine the current market value of the car. That's necessary to get the classic car insurance with the agreed value. Then I pay 40 euro per month or 480 euro per year for a covered parking space in the barn of a nearby farmer. And that's quite a lot of money, but I definitely do not want to leave it parked outside. The maintenance costs are made up of one bigger service, including work on the carburetor and a new water pump for 386 euro. Then I had a smaller service, which was more or less just an oil change, for 125 euros. I got a new battery for 83 euros and a filter for 20 euro. So the total maintenance costs in 2 years are 614 euros or 307 euros per year. So the total regular costs for tax, insurance, the valuation, parking, maintenance and TÜV are consequently 1,338 euros per year. Next step is the big unknown, the repair costs. I had 2 incidents that caused a breakdown within the 2 years. Both of them were easy to fix. The first one was a broken distributor arm that happened already on the way back home when we bought the car. Unfortunately, we had to be towed by the ADAC, that's the roadside assistance service here in Germany, and they towed us to a nearby Ford dealer, and there they replaced or repaired the broken distributor arm for 58 euros. And the second incident happened on one of our holiday trips, and suddenly we had a boiling hot battery, and that was caused by a broken device that controlled the charging of the battery, and unfortunately we had already ruined our battery, so we had to get a new battery and replace this small device, and that was a total repair cost of 126 euros. By far the biggest repair was replacing the spur wheels of the camshaft, and these Novotex spur wheels are a bit of a weak spot with Ford's V4 engine, which you have to replace regularly or it easily breaks if you don't do it. Finally, I had to replace one crank handle for 20 euros and a broken cable for 10 euros. In total, our repair costs in 2 years of ownership of the Ford were 784 euros or 392 euros per year. So together with the regular costs of 1,338 euro, that are now 1,730 euros in total costs except gas and oil. So how much gas does the Ford Transit need? It's not so much, it's 10.7 liters per 100 kilometer or 26 miles per gallon UK or 22 miles per gallon US. I mean, that's absolutely not much for a vintage camper van. So for a 1,000 kilometer road trip you need 107 liters of gasoline 95, and usually I fill up in Austria because there it's a little bit cheaper. It's currently €1.25. So for 1,000 kilometer you need 134 euros for the gas. I mean, it's still a lot if you calculate in US dollar per gallon, because that's 5.5 US dollar per gallon, but in Europe that's a normal price. Then you need an additive to compensate today's unleaded fuel. That's another €3 for a 1,000 kilometer trip, because a bottle of this additive with 250 ml is about €7.50, and then you need oil about 0.4 liters per 1,000 kilometer. That's another €3. So the total costs for gas, additive and oil is 140 euro per 1,000 kilometer, or because usually I travel 5,000 kilometer per year, it's 700 euro. So I add the 700 euro to the 1,730 euro from before, and we have a total costs for the car of 2,430 euro including the gas. And now there is just one thing missing, that are the expenses for campgrounds. And in Europe, of course, the costs for the campgrounds vary from country to country, and also, of course, depending on the quality of the facilities and the time that you travel, the season that you travel. So it's something between 15 and 40 euros, and usually my average is 26 euros per night for the van, 2-person and electricity. And because on my 5,000 kilometer trips per year I spend an average of 25 days on campgrounds, that adds another 650 euro to my bill. So the costs for the van, 2,430 from before, plus 650 for the campground, is now a total cost of 3,090 euro. Total costs for everything, for the pleasure of traveling 5,000 kilometer or 25 days per year. And to be honest, that's quite a lot. I mean, originally, before I bought the van, I expected less, because with a budget of 3,000 euro, I mean, a couple could easily fly from Europe to Asia and spend 3 weeks in a decent resort somewhere in Thailand at the beach. So lesson number 1 from this video is owning and traveling with a classic camper van is not the cheapest way of making holidays. So probably some package tour will be cheaper. But don't get me wrong, I definitely would always opt for the camper van instead of a package tour, but not to save costs, but because of the freedom to just travel wherever I want and to stay how long I want to stay. So that are the big advantages of the camper van, but it's not saving costs. Lesson number 1. Anyway, I still have a joker in my calculation because we didn't yet talk about depreciation, simply because depreciation doesn't exist if you own a classic camper van. So you won't be surprised if I tell you my camper van has appreciated over the last 2 years, and that's absolutely not insignificantly. I have just had a new valuation done by Classic Analytics that was necessary for my insurance certificate, and the new valuation states a current market value of 14,700 euros with now 143,000 kilometers on the clock. I am absolutely convinced that this figure is not exaggerated, because last September historic auctions at Brooklands Museum sold a comparable 1974 Ford Transit Mk1 with a door mobile conversion for 18,000 euros. If you recall my initial investment of 8,800 euros, that's an appreciation of 5,900 euros in 2 years, or 2,950 euros per year. Well, you guess it already. Of course I have to compare the 2,950 euro of appreciation with the 3,090 euro of total costs per year. And suddenly all my holidays cost only 140 euro. I mean, a mere 140 euro for 5,000 kilometers of road trip, for 25 days of joy and fun and adventures on the road. That's just 6 euro per day. That's nothing. That's holiday for free. I mean, you cannot beat that. And that's lesson number 2 of my video. Buy a classic camper van and let appreciation at least pay for part of your holidays. I mean, of course, nobody can guarantee that this kind of appreciation will continue in the following years. But I mean, it's a very intriguing calculation for the last 2 years. What do you think? Thanks for watching my video. I hope I could inspire you a little bit. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and hopefully see you next time again. Bye bye.